Just a few months ago, it seemed like the world couldn't build AI data centers fast enough. Tech companies were announcing massive projects, investors were pouring billions of dollars into the AI infrastructure, power companies were racing to meet the demand, and every week it felt like another company was talking about building the next giant AI campus. But recently, something strange started happening. Some companies began delaying projects, others started scaling back plans, and a few high-profile data center projects were reportedly canceled altogether. So what's going on? Wasn't AI demand supposed to be exploding? And if AI is the future, why are some companies suddenly pulling the plug on data centers? Well, the answer is a lot more complicated than just the bubble is bursting. To understand what's happening, we need to look at what happened over the last couple years. When AI exploded into the mainstream, companies became convinced that demand for computing power was about to go vertical. And honestly, they weren't crazy. AI models require enormous amounts of computing power, and training a cutting-edge model can require tens of thousands of specialized chips running for weeks or months. Once that model is built and millions of people start using it, every prompt, image, video, all of that requires the infrastructure, which means more servers, more cooling, more electricity, and more data centers. Suddenly, everybody wanted a piece of the AI gold rush. Tech giants, real estate developers, energy companies, private equity firms, everybody started making plans, and that's where we started to notice something. History has a funny way of repeating itself. Whenever a new technology appears, people often assume demand will grow forever. It happened with railroads, telecom, the internet, housing, and crypto. The same pattern appears again and again. When expectations get extremely optimistic, companies rush to build capacity. And sometimes they build too much. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying AI is fake, it's far from it. AI is probably one of the most important technological developments of our lifetime, but even real revolutions can experience periods of overbuilding. Companies are trying to predict future demand years in advance, and that's incredibly difficult, especially when billions of dollars are involved. One of the biggest problems isn't actually AI, it's power. Data centers consume staggering amounts of electricity. Some proposed facilities require as much power as entire cities. Just think about that. A single project can place enormous strain on local electrical grids. Utilities have to upgrade infrastructure, transmission lines need expansion, permits need approval, construction takes time, and in many areas, the power simply isn't available yet. Some projects aren't being delayed because companies changed their minds. They're being delayed because the electricity just doesn't exist, at least not yet. Investors often imagine that building a data center is as simple as constructing a warehouse and filling it with servers, and in reality, power availability has become one of the most valuable resources in the entire AI economy. Another factor is just the cost. Building AI infrastructure is insanely expensive. You've got to pay for land, buildings, power systems, cooling systems, networking equipment, thousands of AI chips, and the price tag can quickly reach billions of dollars. And when interest rates are higher, which right now they are by a little bit, borrowing money becomes more expensive. That forces companies to become more selective, and projects that looked amazing during the peak AI excitement suddenly receive closer scrutiny. Executives start asking tougher questions. How much demand will actually exist? How quickly will customers arrive? How long before this project generates a return? And some projects just don't survive those questions. Now here's the part that's really important, because when people hear about canceled projects, they often jump to a dramatic conclusion. They might say AI is over, AI was a bubble, the boom is finished, and that's probably the wrong takeaway. What's happening now looks more like a transition from excitement to reality. The market is moving from build everything to build what actually makes sense, and those are very different phases, and honestly it's a healthy process. Because long-term winners usually emerge after the hype settles down, not during peak excitement. For investors, the important question isn't whether AI survives, it's where the value ultimately ends up. Will it flow into chip manufacturers, power providers, data center operators, fiber companies, software companies, or the AI model creators themselves? That's the multi-trillion-dollar question. Because while some projects are being delayed or canceled, AI spending remains enormous. The challenge isn't figuring out whether AI matters, the challenge is figuring out who actually profits. And history shows that it isn't always obvious at first. So why are some companies suddenly pulling the plug on data centers? It's not because AI is dead or the demand disappeared. It's because reality is starting to collide with the hype. We're starting to face real challenges like power constraints, construction costs, and just financing challenges. And the simple fact is that predicting the future is incredibly difficult. The AI boom is still happening, but now we're entering the phase where investors have to separate genuine opportunities from unrealistic expectations. And honestly, that might be where the biggest opportunities are created. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what I should talk about next, and also let me know what you think about AI data centers.